handout, I guess you can kind of go through it as I go over this, and then at the end of the PowerPoint slide, it'll have like the answers to it and everything. Today we're going to be learning about the cell. Cell and organization. Tissue is a group of cells functioning together. Organ is a group of tissues that function together. Organ system is a group of organs that collectively function together. And then organism is a group of organ systems that functions together to help make up the cell. The cell is the basic unit of organism. Discovery made possible by the invention of the microscope. Without the microscope, they would never had any clue about cells. Ben Leeuwenhoek, he was the first one that saw the cell through a microscope in the 1600s. And then Robert Hooke, he used cork slices to determine cells, and then he used a series of lenses to magnify it in steps. And he was the first person to coin the term cell. Matthias Skleden, he was the first one to introduce that said plants have cells as well. And then Thomas Swan said that animals, he was the first one that said that animals had cells within them. This was all around the 1830s. And then the cell theory, all organisms are made up of cells. The cell is the basic unit of life, and then all cells come from pre-existing cells, meaning we're divided. We have cells in us, and then we're made up of more cells and everything else. And then there's two basic cell types: prokaryote. Does anyone know the second type?
Eukaryote.
There we go. Prokaryote, it lacks internal compartments. There's no true nucleus. They're single-celled. And then an example would be like bacteria. The second type, eukaryote, as y'all said, it has several internal structures. It does have a nucleus as opposed to the prokaryote. And then they're unicellular, which would be yeast, and multicellular, which would be like plants and animals. Plasma membrane, it goes around. You can see in the picture, it kind of goes around. It's like the black little outline close to the cell. It goes around, serves as protection, and it allows materials to flow in and out of the cell. You have your cell wall. It is right next to it. It serves the same purpose almost. It surrounds the plasma membrane of plants, bacteria, and fungi. It contains cellulose, while fungi contains chitin. And then the nucleus, it's pretty much controls the cell. It's surrounded by a double layer membrane. It has large pores that allow material to flow in and out. And then it contains chromatin, long tangles of DNA. Your nucleolus is the center of y'all's picture. It's like a little round part. It's found in the nucleus, and it's responsible for ribosomal production. And ribosomes are a site of protein production. So it produces ribosomes, and ribosomes produce protein. And then the cytoplasm is kind of like a jelly-like substance that fills around around the material, and it surrounds the organelles. Endoplasmic reticulum. There's two types. You have smooth and rough. It's a folded membrane that acts as the cell's delivery system, so it delivers materials in and out all throughout the cell. The smooth ER contains enzymes for lipid synthesis, and then the rough ER, they call it rough ER because it has ribosomes on it, and it's for protein synthesis. Golgi apparatus, or Golgi body, I guess, depends how you want to say it. A series of flattened sacs where newly made lipids and proteins from the endoplasmic reticulum are repackaged and shipped to the plasma membrane. It's pretty much like side of packing and shipping. And then storage, you have your vacuoles. It's like little holes in the center, kind of throughout the cell. And it's a sac of fluid surrounded by a membrane, and it's used to store fluid and waste. And then you have lysosomes, which are also used for storage. They contain a digestive enzyme. They can fuse with vacuoles to digest food, or can digest worn cell parts. They're known as suicide sacs because they can destroy the whole cell if they were to have been burst. And then you got your mitochondria. It's considered the powerhouse of the cell. They produce energy for the cell. It's like where everything takes place. Highly folded in the membrane. You can see it on those pictures. It's kind of, I think it's to the right side, I believe. Chloroplast, it's found in plant cells. It transforms light energy into chemical energy. It contains chlorophyll, which makes plants green and traps light energy. And then you have your support system, your cytoskeleton, network of fibrous material that acts as a scaffold, supports organelles. Microtubules or hollow filaments within the cell of protein, and microfilaments are solid filaments of protein. Okay, cilia is how it moves around. It's like little fingers that are outside the cell. Short, numerous hair-like projections from the plasma membrane move with a coordinated beating action. So they're kind of like, it's kind of like a vibration kind of thing they send off, and they kind of moves throughout the cell. And then flagella, they also move. They're kind of longer than the cilia. There's not as many of them. They're projections from the plasma membrane, and they move with like a whip-like action that's kind of like whip back and forth. It's the tail-like thing at the top of the page. And then you have your centrioles, which makes up cell division. They're made of protein. They play a role in splitting the cell into two cells, and then they're found in animal and fungi cells.